Welcome to the mythical creatures.
The African dragon, known as Amphisbaena, may have first appeared in North Africa, and then myths about it spread to Greece. Amphisbaena was a two-headed dragon, with one head in front and the other at the end of its tail. The front head held the tail, or neck, depending on the circumstances, in its mouth, thus forming a wheel from its body that allowed it to roll. Creatures similar to dragons. Basilisk. The basilisk is supposedly the result of a rooster and a snake crossing. His appearance resembles a lizard or a snake, and he is able to kill with his gaze, voice, or even touch the victim. Like a jellyfish, a basilisk can die if it sees itself in a mirror. Leviathan. In Jewish mythology, Leviathan is depicted as a huge creature with huge teeth. Modern interpretations often associate it with a crocodile, but in the Bible Leviathan is described as a creature capable of breathing fire, flying and overcoming spears or harpoons. It can crawl along vertical walls and has teeth located very close to each other. Leviathan is able to swallow a person whole, which distinguishes it from a crocodile. For a long time, the term Leviathan has been used to refer to any large sea creature, and in modern Hebrew it simply means a whale. Leviathan is more similar to a snake and lives in water. The winged dragon. This is the creature that most resembles an ordinary dragon compared to all the others listed here. A winged dragon is a snake with wings, usually with 2 legs or no legs at all. His images are often found in heraldry, and he differs significantly from 4-legged dragons. Snake. It comes from Slavic mythology and often takes the form of a human. The snake is able to fly and breathe fire. Cockatrice. It is a bird-like reptile, often confused with a basilisk. In Gerald Darrell's book, they attempt to destroy all the dragons by stealing their last eggs. Quetzal. This is a creature from Central America or Mexico, depicted as a snake with feathers and scales. He was worshipped by the Toltecs and Aztecs, also known as the feathered serpent. Famous dragons. Ajidahaka, a 3-headed demon often described as resembling a dragon, is part of Zoroastrian mythology. Ugaritic mythology describes Latin, a 7-headed sea snake. In Greek mythology, Hydra is a water snake with many heads and magical abilities. After Hercules cut off one head, 2 more grew in its place. Hydra was defeated by Hercules. Smok-Wolski is a Polish dragon that terrorized the hills around Krakow in the Middle Ages. Ydrea Gach, the symbol of Wales, originally represented as the red dragon from the Mabinogion, the story of Lud and Llywelys. Nidhogg, a dragon from Norse mythology, was believed to inhabit the darkest corners of the underworld, waiting for Ragnarok to be released to bring destruction to the world. Orochi, an 8-headed snake, was killed by Susanoo in Japanese mythology. The dragon is also a symbol of Ljubljana, Slovenia. The city has a dragon bridge decorated with 4 images of dragons. The local basketball team is known as the Green Dragons, and there is also a dragon depicted on the city car license plates. This dragon is one of the most famous in the UK, and there are many legends around it. According to illustrator Todd Lockwood, dragons have a lot in common with cats in their anatomy and character, but not with snakes or lizards. He believes that dragons must have developed muscles to fly and be intelligent beings. Similarly, the main character in the series of books How to Train a Dragon by the British children's writer Cressida Cowell is presented as a dragon with the habits of a cat, which is also reflected in the film adaptations of the books. Dragons in the world of fantasy and video games. Alduin from Skyrim was nicknamed the World Eater according to Nordic legends, which describe him as a terrible firestorm that destroyed the previous world so that the current era could begin. For the Nords, he is the god of time, the creator and harbinger of the apocalypse. Although he is not the head of the pantheon of Northerners, but rather its dark and gloomy source. Galakrond is a giant proto-dragon, the progenitor of the entire dragon family in the world of Azeroth from the game Warcraft, who in the past slept and terrorized his children. His threat was countered by 5 proto-dragons of various colors, united in future aspects. It is said that the Titans created aspects, but this is just a myth that hides the truth about Galakrond for most dragons. In addition to the World of Warcraft called Cataclysm, released in 2010, there were radical changes. The dragon Deathwing brought chaos to the entire world of Azeroth. This destruction affected many areas and radically changed the surrounding landscape. Deathwing became the final boss of this expansion, presenting a fierce opponent for the players. Over time, you can defeat him again, traveling on the Dragon Mount. so as not to forget who won the victory. Ancalagon was the first winged dragon of Middle-earth, the ancestor of all winged fire-breathing dragons. The winged dragons became Morgotha's last reserve in the War of Wrath, thanks to their attack. For the first time, the Dark Lord managed not only to stop, but also to push back Valinor's troops advancing on Thangorodrim. Balerion, also known as the Black Terror, was a dragon belonging to Aegon the Conqueror during the War of Conquest. Not only was this dragon the largest and oldest among the Targaryen dragons, but it was also considered the most powerful in all of Westeros. Its size was so great that its shadow could envelop an entire city. Vlintratinmert, also known as Borch the Three Jackdaws, is one of the most powerful dragons in the world described in Sapkowski's stories about The Witcher. It is unique in that it represents a golden dragon capable of taking the form of a human or any other creature. Golden dragons are considered the rarest and most legendary. Their scales have a golden hue. His daughter, Sezentessus, inherits his abilities, but she is not a pure-blooded golden dragon and can only take the form of a dragon or a human. The Ukrainian armored belly is the most massive and powerful dragon in the world of Harry Potter. It weighs up to 6 tons, and although its flight is far from easy and maneuverable, it is capable of destroying an entire house with its weight. The scales are gray with a metallic sheen, the eyes are red, and the claws are long and dangerous. The magical magistrate of Ukraine has been closely monitoring these dragons since 1799, when one of them attacked a sailboat in the Black Sea. The ancient dragon is the largest and most powerful dragon in Drangleic. In fact, he is not a true dragon, but still has dragon characteristics. Perhaps it was created by Aldea from the soul of a giant, since after its destruction, only the soul of this giant can be obtained. The undead dragon is not only the most powerful, but also the most stable of all the dragons in the Gothic world. Almost immortal, he dwells in his own chambers on the island of Erdorat and is the supreme ruler of all undead, including seekers and orcs. The dragon is the wife of the donkey who guarded Fiona's tower in Shrek, appearing for the first time while defending an abandoned castle that serves as a dungeon for Princess Fiona. She probably lived in this place for a long time, since the tower is filled with treasures and the remains of many unsuccessful knights who tried to free Fiona. It is assumed that she inflicted numerous blows with her fire on everyone who dared to confront her. In the universe of the game Heroes of Might and Magic, starting with the 5th part, dragons ceased to be just huge winged reptiles, flaming erupting. They began to be considered as the original deities and the embodiment of magic. The inhabitants of Ashen are not only aware of the existence of dragons, but also put them on a pedestal, honoring and even trembling before them. Stories about dragons are carried over from generation to generation, inspiring a variety of artificial works, from literature to movies and video games. In modern culture, dragons remain one of the most exciting and popular fantasy elements.
Thanks for watching. It will be nice to see you again in the world of mythical creatures.